Let's explore the idea of dog culture being a political issue. Is dog culture a political issue? Yes. This is a topic that is close to my heart because I was told by several other YouTube channels that I'm not allowed to talk about politics and that dog culture isn't a political issue. Well, I'm sorry, but you guys are wrong, and the only reason to say that to somebody is if you didn't want them to have some power in this anti-dog movement. So we're going to have to look at this a little bit more. So we're going to look at the political issue of dog ownership. We're going to look at millionaires, billionaires, Gen Z, Millennials, Gen X, voter basis, because this all ties together. For example, billionaires are hated by the generation that we're going to look at. The generation of dog-loving pro-socialist right here in America. So, Millennials and Gen X together represent a significant portion of the voting population. So that's why this is a political issue. The people that vote the most or have the most power, Gen Z, Gen X, and Millennials. Even though they have a little bit lower turnout rate, as mentioned right here, they have the huge voter base. So, if you have a dog, or if you're promoting dog type stuff, or if you're a politician that says you're gonna help the family. Well, if you're a Gen X, Millennial, Gen Z, you're thinking family means dogs, not humans. So here's a little bit more on that. Gen Z and Millennials, they have a significant portion of the voting population. So just wanted to let you guys know about that. We got to get that out of the way. So this same generation that carries all this voting power, like we've seen before in a couple previous videos, they spend the most on their dogs. Gen Z, Millennials, treating them as family members. So remember, I said family members. So if these voters, they see a politician with a dog, and the politician says, you see, he's just like family. We give him all the stuff. We get all the vet care for him. Those millennials that are getting the most food stamps and the most student loans and everything else, they're thinking, yeah, I'm going to vote for that person. And then taxes will get raised for free dog stuff, not for human endeavors. Yeah. Luxury items, too. Luxury items. Oh, boy. And so political candidates often use dogs to gain trust. So if you're a political candidate, your team knows that you got a bunch of dog worshippers out there. Your team knows that those age groups are going to be one of the most powerful things. So of course you're going to put a bunch of dogs in front of yourself. Joe Biden did this when he beat Donald Trump for the presidency. He had those German Shepherds and he gave them names and had all kinds of little puff piece videos going to pick them up from the rescue and everything else. Yeah. And this isn't any type of new information either. It's even look at this article. 12 dog-inspired campaign slogans everybody should use. So they know it. I mean, everybody knows this. It's just they don't think about it. They don't think about how this all works. So those millennials and Gen Z, one of the things that they really hate is the billionaires. They're anti-capitalist. They hate that all these billionaires have all this money and they don't have as much. Well, pet food companies have billionaires too. So Clay, who owns Iams Company, he's a billionaire. A lot of people buy Iams. So millennials and Gen Z and all this age group that we're talking about, you're buying dog food that is government subsidized. You're buying dog food from dog food companies that are government subsidized, basically participating in socialism, even though you don't know it. You love socialism, but you think that you're not participating in it. But you're also participating in capitalism because you're creating millionaires by buying all that pet food. So like we were talking about, millennials and Gen X have a significant discontent with wealth inequality and capitalism, expressing frustration towards billionaires. You see, all these dog-owning billionaire haters, You're actually creating your own problem. You're creating the billionaires. Yeah. And you're creating it through socialism, through the worst parts of socialism, and then you're creating the worst parts of capitalism by creating these billionaires. These billionaires that are getting rich off of spoiled dogs. They're not getting rich off of actually inventing like human infrastructure. You know, you could be like a billionaire bridge designer. You could be a billionaire racetrack builder where all the people come and have fun watching racetracks. But when you're a billionaire person that produces dog food, you're not really contributing to society the way that other type of capitalist billionaire would. So yeah, it's the worst part of capitalism with these types of billionaires. So let's look at the billionaire topic a little bit. So Purina is a huge company. It's owned by Nestle. It's a large Swiss corporation, and they don't have a single billionaire owner. It's owned by it's a multinational company. There's a lot more to understand about that. But let's go like a little bit deeper then. So who owns Nestle then? Well, it's a bunch of different people and organizations. But let's find like a specific person. So one of the specific people would be Larry Fink, CEO, and he's a powerful figure with close ties to the Fed and U.S. government. So of course, this company is going to be looking at all these dog worshipping millennials and being part of political campaigns and all that other stuff that goes along with helping convince them to get dogs and spend all their money on dog food. And so this billionaire Larry Fink, with his big power in the U.S. government, millennials that hate that type of power and hate that type of billionaire, you guys are creating this by blowing all your money on dog food and other dog products. And look at this. Purina itself receives significant government subsidies, state and local awards totaling $314 million. So many people think that dog culture is just a straight capitalist profit-driven thing. But they're doing this through government subsidies. First for the raw materials, okay? And then the companies themselves get subsidies. So this is not direct capitalism and direct for-profit functioning. They're doing this to create influence. They're doing this to build up the voter base of human-hating, dog-loving fur mommies and fur daddies that are willing to live broke and live in debt to serve dogs. And the reason I mentioned this billionaire type argument is because this is where we can take that millennial person aside. The ones that hate capitalism, the ones that especially hate billionaires. You know, some of them don't purely hate capitalism. They like the idea that they can make a profit. But if we explain to them how their worship of dogs creates the influence to create these crazy billionaires, maybe 1 out of 100 of them would do like I'm doing and look at some of this information, and then they could change the vote little by little. And that's why this is a political issue, because it's kind of like the crazy people running the nut house. The millennials, the Gen Z, the Gen X, all the dog worshippers, they're the ones that are voting the dog worshipping politicians that are supported by the dog worshipping millionaires. Yeah. And so mental health issues, that's what I was talking about. It's like the crazy people running the nut house. And let me go back a minute. Larry Fink, CEO, and the other CEOs that are tied into all this purchasing of dog food, they know this. They know that the millennials are reporting more health issues and Gen Z and Gen X too. So of course, since they own Purina, of course they're going to push out a bunch of stuff about get a dog to cure your depression, get a dog to be happier. It'll give all these perfect little things to you, like a vaccine against depression that never kicks in. So yeah, that age group that we're talking about, they're also influencing Larry Fink and all the other billionaires that own these dog food companies. So I mean, just give that some thought. All those billionaires, they're looking out there at Gen Z or whatever generation, and they're reporting all these sadness issues and loneliness issues. So they're going to generate campaigns and generate advertisements through their dog food company that make it look like dog ownership is going to help you with all this. Yeah. Quit being so depressed and go get a proper human friend, and you're going to deal a blow to those billionaires that you hate, guys. Yeah. So we got the three generations linked up right here: Gen X, Gen Z, and Millennials. They spend the most on dogs. So of course, like I was mentioning with those CEOs, they know that. So they're gonna market the dog products in order to fix the Gen Z's problems. If they're more depressed, they're gonna market dogs as a cure for that. They know that generation loves socialism, and they know that generation hates capitalism. So they're going to generate advertisements to all of these people that make dogs look like family. So then when you buy dog food, it's like you're kind of being a socialist. You're sticking it to those darn capitalists, and you're spreading the wealth around. You're spreading the wealth around to your little pupper doggo. You're going to show them, but really what you're doing is contributing to your own problem. So we're looking at another summary. Capitalism, are people that hate capitalism. They express resentment towards billionaires. It's a common thing in the all of the protests that they do on Facebook and in person. They hate those billionaires. And so again, this is what I'm talking about. If you want to reach out to those three generations and get them to understand what they're contributing to with their dog worship, them themselves and all the influence that they create, maybe we could get them to see that they're actually contributing towards the worst part of capitalism, something that they hate. So that has been a look at why dog culture is absolutely a political issue. We can bang on about how mad we are about dog attacks all day, like that one YouTube channel. We can do video after video with cool artificial intelligent voices and rake in viewers all we want. But until we actually start reaching out to these Americans that are pushing dog culture through their voting habits and through their spending habits, we're never going to really make an impact on it. And so here are some pictures of our millennial and Gen Z or so generation of dog worshippers. All these pictures out there, those billionaires, they're looking at this. They're looking at this picture and they're hearing what this guy has to say. He's depressed, he's sad, he doesn't like capitalism, he wants everybody to be fed, everybody should have everybody should have medical care. And when this guy says everybody should have medical care and housing, he's not talking humans, he's talking dogs. So all those billionaires that promote dog products, that's what they're going to do. They're going to promote food, housing, sharing the wealth with a dog. And so these people are going to go blow money. Like statistics show, they even admit that they'll go broke for their dog. All those billionaires see that, and they're just sitting back laughing at you freaking dog lovers, as they sit on a mountain of money while your infrastructure fails, while your flood alarms fail in Texas, while your health fails, and they rake in your money, and they become the worst type of capitalists, the billionaires that don't actually become billionaires from doing human infrastructure type endeavors. They do it from raking in your money because you're a dog worshiper and you'll work yourself into the dirt just to stick it to those capitalists while you're actually creating a socialist environment. Yeah, see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to check the links. Read up on this yourself. See you later.